Establishing a problem statement. Isn't it obvious that most meetings and brainstorming sessions go in circles because people aren't clear on what they're actually solving? I have seen that without a well-defined problem statement, discussions tend to drift into opinions, assumptions, and endless debate. Could it be that the biggest barrier to effective problem solving isn't a lack of ideas, but a lack of clarity on what needs to be solved in the first place? In my experience, the way a problem is framed determines the quality of solutions people generate. Have you noticed how people tend to respond to the way a question is asked rather than the actual issue at hand? If a problem is framed too narrowly, people feel boxed in. If it's too broad, they get lost in possibilities. What if the key to unlocking truly innovative thinking is not just asking the right questions, but asking them in the right way? And isn't it fascinating how the same problem can look completely different depending on who is looking at it? I have seen that when you bring together people from different backgrounds, they don't just see different solutions, they often see entirely different problems. Could it be that the first step in any successful critical thinking session isn't about jumping into solutions, but about making sure everyone is seeing the same issue in a way that is actually useful? Have you noticed how easy it is to get caught in problem loops, where people keep discussing symptoms rather than root causes? What if we structured conversations in a way that forced people to separate surface-level frustrations from the deeper issues driving them? I have seen that when people take the time to unpack why a problem exists, their solutions naturally become more precise, more effective, and far easier to implement. Could it be that most unsolvable problems are only difficult because they haven't been framed correctly? And then there's the question of perspective. I have seen that when a problem is framed from a purely logical, financial, or operational standpoint, it often misses the human element. Isn't it obvious that most real-world challenges are just as emotional as they are technical? What if, instead of treating problem-solving like a numbers game, we treated it like a story, one where people's motivations, fears, and experiences actually mattered? Could it be that the best problem statements don't just define a challenge, but help people connect with it on a deeper level? So the real question is this: what if the real breakthrough in problem solving isn't in finding better answers, but in learning how to ask better questions? Could it be that the secret to smarter decision-making, smoother collaboration, and more effortless innovation is simply getting clear on what's really being solved? And if that's the case, isn't it worth spending more time defining the problem before rushing into the solution? Defining the problem statement, the foundation of real-world solutions. Have you ever noticed how workplace discussions often go in circles because no one has clearly defined what actually needs to be solved? I have seen that employees, whether they're in leadership or on the front lines, are usually handed pre-packaged problems instead of being involved in identifying what the real issue is. Could it be that the key to better problem solving isn't about coming up with smarter answers, but about learning how to frame the right questions in the first place? In my experience, companies don't struggle because they lack talented people. They struggle because employees don't always see how their work connects to the company's larger goals. Isn't it obvious that when people don't fully understand why a problem matters, they can't bring their best thinking to it? What if defining the problem wasn't just an abstract exercise, but something that made employees feel directly involved in shaping the company's direction? Could it be that by including them in identifying the real issues, they would feel more motivated, more valued, and more capable of making a real difference? I have seen that many companies struggle with engagement because employees feel disconnected from the company's challenges. It's one thing to hear management talk about improving efficiency, boosting sales, or cutting costs, but if people can't see how those issues relate to their daily work, how are they supposed to care? What if the real challenge isn't just about fixing business problems, but about making those problems feel relevant to the people expected to solve them? Imagine a company struggling with high employee turnover. Leadership might say, "We need to reduce turnover by 20%, and everyone nods. But does that actually tell anyone why people are leaving? What if the real problem is something deeper, like unclear career growth, poor communication, or a disconnect between leadership and employees? Instead of making it about numbers, what if the problem was framed as, what aspects of our company culture make employees want to stay or leave? Now, instead of just tracking statistics, employees are part of a real conversation about what's working and what's not. The issue becomes human, relatable, and something they can actually influence. People disengage at work not because they don't care, but because decisions feel distant from their reality. Have you ever been in a meeting where someone announces a big company change and you think, wait, did they even ask the people doing the work before deciding this? I have seen that when employees are part of defining the problem, everything shifts. They start seeing decisions from a business perspective instead of just feeling like they're following orders. They begin to think more critically about their work instead of feeling like passive executors of someone else's plan. And most importantly, they feel like their experiences and insights actually matter. It's frustrating to work in a place where your input doesn't seem to count. People don't disengage because they don't have ideas. They disengage because they don't see a meaningful way to apply them. What if, instead of just solving problems given to them, employees were asked to help define what's actually worth solving? Imagine a customer service team dealing with frustrated clients every day. If management frames the issue as, how do we improve customer satisfaction scores? The employees might tune out, thinking, that's just another metric. But if the problem is framed as, what customer frustrations are we overlooking? And how can we fix them in a way that makes their experience better and our jobs easier? Suddenly, they're engaged. Now, their daily struggles aren't just problems. They're opportunities to improve things in a way that benefits everyone. When problem statements are designed to be real, relevant, and inclusive, employees naturally become more invested in solutions. They stop seeing company goals as something separate from their own work and start seeing how their contributions matter. They move beyond reacting to issues and begin proactively identifying what's broken and how to fix it. And instead of feeling like just another cog in the machine, they become active participants in making their workplace better. So the real question is, what if the biggest reason companies struggle with innovation isn't that employees lack ideas, but that they aren't engaged in defining the right problems to solve? Could it be that the fastest way to unlock better solutions isn't to push harder for results, but to frame problems in ways that naturally invite smarter thinking? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking, how much stronger could a company become if problem solving was no longer just the job of leadership, but a mindset embedded in every employee at every level? What if success wasn't just about solving problems better, but about defining them more intelligently in the first place?